the second week of Advent, and our theme this week is peace. That's a word we hear a lot these days, even if we speak it without much of that aforementioned hope that we talked about last week. As I record this, we have conflicts happening all across the globe. Places like Ukraine and Russia, Gaza and Israel, Myanmar and Sudan, as well as tensions rising in places like China and Taiwan and India and Pakistan, and who knows how many other places where conflict is on the verge of happening or is already happening. And in the domestic sphere, peace seems to be further and further beyond our grasp as violence in our schools and in our politics continues to escalate, casting a shadow of darkness and restlessness across our entire nation. But then a lot of us don't have to leave our own homes or even our own heads to acknowledge the lack of peace in our lives. We are being torn apart and torn up by things like anxiety and depression, loneliness and addiction. Peace. What peace? And yet every Advent we come together as disciples of Jesus Christ and declare and proclaim with the angels, peace on earth, goodwill toward humanity. We do this in spite of the evidence that surrounds us because we believe in something bigger and better than what's happening in our world. We believe that God is bringing peace into the world through the birth and return of Jesus Christ. But much like with hope, we have to remember that this message of peace on earth would have sounded just as ridiculous to those first participants in Christmas as it might to others in our world today. Whether Mary or Joseph, Elizabeth or Zechariah or the shepherds in the field, they all lived in a world that very much lacked peace. Not only were they under Roman oppression, but even their own religious establishment was fighting and tearing each other apart. Violence was a part of their everyday life, impacting everyone they knew and taking its toll on their mental health and well-being. This was their situation. This was their reality. And yet they believed because they knew that God was about to do something new through not just one, but two baby boys, Jesus and John. They knew peace for the same reason that we do, because we know that true peace is not the absence of conflict, pain, or struggle, but rather it is the presence of God's glory with us in the middle of it all. So as we get closer to Christmas during this second week of Advent, my question to you is, what situation are you in that is crying out for the peace that only comes from the glory of God that we find in Emmanuel, Jesus Christ?